Hello everyone, welcome to Satya classes. Myself Raj Pandey. This is the new series of magnetic field, and in this video you're gonna learn about magnetic field, magnetic force and some rules for finding the direction. Guys, I made it so much easy for you so that everyone of you can understand it easily. Okay, so please subscribe my channel and stay connected with me. Coming up next, taken chapter magnetic field. This chapter is for class 12th. So before I start this chapter, I would like to tell you that this is very much huge chapter containing a lot of topics. But you are in class 12th or you are preparing for your competitive exams, so you have a syllabus and you will be study this chapter according to that syllabus. Okay, so before I start this chapter, let us develop some intuition. So for this purpose, I have taken a wire. It is a metallic wire carrying current I. Now, I am putting a charge Q at some distance from this wire. Okay. Now, what do you think what will happen? This is the charge. There will not be any movement in the charge. The reason being, there is no electric field. And why there is no electric field? Think about this wire. This wire consists of millions of atoms. Do you agree? And each atom have electron and proton of equal number. So equal number electron proton produces no charge, means this metallic wire is neutral. Understand? But what happens when you give some velocity to this charge? I am saying velocity because the speed is in particular direction. This direction is, you can see, this is upward direction. Okay, this times a force start acting on this charge. Understand? So I have three questions here. First one is which force? Second, by how much amount? And the third question will be in which direction. So while discussing these three questions, you will be understanding the whole concept of magnetic field. Understand? So let us discuss one by one. Okay, before I proceed for these questions, let me tell you one more thing, that you have studied in class 10th. A current carrying wire produces magnetic field. Is it so? Do you remember? Okay, I will tell you, but later on, how the wire produces magnetic field. Okay, and also why is it so? So basically this wire will produce magnetic field, and that magnetic field affect the motion of this charged particle because of a newly force start acting on this charge. Understand? So combining all together, we can say that strength of magnetic field is constant at a fixed position and time. If this is the position, okay, here you will get a constant magnetic field. When you change the position, magnetic field will change. Means I am talking about space and time. Okay, because this point is located in this plane. You can consider it as 2D plane, but what happens when this plane will be in 3D? So there will be a space. Understanding? Very good. Whenever a charge is placed in a uniform or non-uniform, so magnetic field are of two types. The first one is uniform and second one is non-uniform. We have to discuss only uniform magnetic field. Sometime we'll be discussing about non-uniform field, but most of the time we will discuss about magnetic field which is uniform in nature. Understand? So the charge will experience a magnetic force, and that force is defined as F is equal to, this is vector, Q multiplied with P cross P. This is the magnetic field. This is velocity of the charge. Understand? Now please don't be surprised that how I wrote this equation. This equation is determined by a number of observation, means physicists have determined this equation. Okay, for this time you have to use this equation frankly. So now you have the formula. This formula can determine the magnitude of the force. Yeah, of course. Mod F will be equal to Q B. I am choosing mod indicate the magnitude, nothing to worry about, sine theta and n cap. Okay, this is the cross product, and I will take 2 minutes to explain you the cross product. Otherwise you can watch the video for cross product in the playlist of class 11th. Okay, so let me free up space. For understanding cross product, I have chosen two vector A and vector B, and they are at some angle. The angle is theta. Understand? Now when you cross them, A cross B, its magnitude will be equal to mod of A mod of B sine theta, and there will be also a direction that will indicated by n cap. Now I want to discuss about this n cap vector which indicate the direction, and for magnitude you will write only this, but for direction you have to write n cap also. Understanding? So let me tell you what is this n cap. For finding the direction we use right hand curl rule. Okay, what is the rule? See, this is my right hand, okay, and this is left. So place your right hand on one vector and curl your hand through the shortest possible angle. Look at this one is the shortest possible angle. Curl your hand shortest possible angle. Now somebody is thinking that I can also curl my hand in this way. So can you do that? Look here. Is it possible for you? You cannot curl your hand. You need not to break your hand, otherwise your hand will be broken. So you have to curl it through shortest possible angle. So this is the shortest possible angle. Look at the theta. This is the shortest possible angle. Now you have to curl. This thumb will indicate the direction. Okay, means if I put a pen over it, can you see it? Look here, this is the pen I am putting over it. So this pen is perpendicular to the A and B. This is the property of the vector cross product. Now, and n cap, what is n cap? So I am representing it like this. Okay, I cannot make it standing. Understand? So I am drawing this vector in the plane. Now try to understand this. For magnitude you have to write up to sine theta, and n cap is indicating the direction. So I am removing the sign of magnitude. Okay, now look, this B and this B, they are perpendicular on F, or F is perpendicular on B and B. Understand? And if B and B are making some plane, you can see over here A cross B is making a plane here. This is plane. So the vector is also perpendicular on this plane. You can see here this vector B is perpendicular on this plane. Okay, look, easy. Is this, you can see the perpendicular? Very good. So this is perpendicular on F, means their plane is also perpendicular on F. So I am writing those points here. F is perpendicular on B vector. Okay, this is the sign of perpendicular. F is perpendicular on B vector. Okay, the third point is F is also perpendicular on plane made by B and P vector. Okay, note this point in your copy. There is a special case when B vector and B vector holds 90-degree angle. Okay, in this case we have to use Fleming left hand rule. Okay, now what is the rule? So look here, first of all you have to stretch your left hand. So this is my right hand, I am writing by right hand, and this is my left hand. Okay, this is my left hand. So stretch your left hand, stretch it, and stretch in such a way so that your thumb is pointing like this. Understand, your thumb should be pointing like this, otherwise if thumb is like this, you cannot find the direction. Understand? So you need to curl these three finger like this. Okay, and your now hand looks like this. The angle you can see here, this is 90-degree angle. Okay, now this one is the middle finger pointing down. Understand? So this is also perpendicular, this is also perpendicular. What I said, there is a special case when B and B are 90-degree. So Fleming left hand, consider this finger the direction of magnetic field. So I am writing here B. Can you see it? And this finger is the motion of the charge. You can see motion of the charge will be written by small b. Okay, and this thumb will indicate force. Understand? And these three vectors are mutually perpendicular. Okay, this is the rule. So let's apply this rule practically. Before I move to question part, I would like to tell you about the direction of magnetic field. Okay, there are two things you should be knowing. The first one is magnetic field can travel through plane, and when it is traveling through plane, a planar magnetic field is represented by this. Okay, and look at the distance of in between these lines, they are equal. So this field represent what? Uniform magnetic field, and this is a planar magnetic field. Understand? But magnetic field also can be in 3D. It can move in 3D also, means in a space also, and it is moving also. So for that purpose we have considered an arrow. This is arrow, and when this arrow is coming towards you, like suppose this pen is what? That arrow, and this pen, this is the tail part, and this is the pointing. Now its head, when it coming towards you, it will look like a point. So the magnetic field that will be coming out of this board is represented by a dot, and when it going away from you, means going inside, so this tail part you will be seeing. Tail part is look like a star here, and you will denote it by a putting cross sign. So for coming out field you will put dot, and for going inside the board you will put a cross. Understand? Now let me show you how do we know that cross and dot are uniform or not. So if all the dot are at same distance, okay, this represents what? This is uniform field. Understand? And this uniform region, I am putting a rectangle over it. It can be shown by, these are the representation. It can be shown by putting a single dot. Okay, this is also represent what? A uniform magnetic field going inside the board. No, coming out of the board, because dot represents out and cross represents in. Do you understand these representation? They are the basics, and you will be using these representation throughout the chapter. Okay, so let us move to the question. I am erasing it. To understand Fleming left hand rule, I have taken an example. The example is, look here, this is cross field. All the field are going inside the board. Understand? Now I have chosen a positive charge and I am projecting this charge inside this field. Okay, this has some speed v. Now what will happen? First of all, you need to check the direction of projection and the magnetic field angle. So see what will happen. The field is going inside. Very nice. And you are projecting the charge like this. This is the charge I am taking in my right hand. Okay, the charge projected like this. So they are making how much angle? 90-degree angle. Exactly, this is 90 degree. Okay, very nice. So here we can use Fleming left hand rule easily. So let's see what happens next. This is the line of action of speed. Okay, and they are mutually perpendicular to each other, so you can simply use Fleming left hand rule. Look at the rule. The rule is, first of all, your index finger should be pointing in the direction of B. The B is going in downward direction, so your finger will be pointing in downward direction. Okay, this is the downward direction. And look, this is B, so B is going upward. This is upward direction. Now thumb will indicate the force. Look at the thumb. Thumb is indicating the direction of force, so this will be the direction of force. Done? Understand? So let us take another example. Suppose that if this charge is minus q. Now in this case what will happen? In this case you have to do all the things similar you did. Okay, same field going inside, you have projected charge upward. This is the field, but this is negative charge, so the direction of the force will be changes. Now this time force will act in this direction. Understand? Easy. So do I need to take more examples? I don't think so, because throughout the chapter you will be using these things and you will be learning these things. Okay, so far we have discussed the direction of magnetic field. Now it's time to see its magnitude. Taken case first. In case first, the field line are planar in nature, so there is a many more lines and I am representing by a single lines. This is the region of the magnetic field. Understand? And it is represented by B. Now my aim is to move a charge or to project a plus q charge inside this field. So this charge will be goes like this. Understand? Easy. Now I wanna check the force on this charge. So for checking force, I will write its magnitude, because direction after calculating the magnitude will use the Fleming left hand rule or the right hand curl rule for finding the direction. So let us see, is it holding any magnitude or not. So F equal to how much? Q B B sine theta. This is the formula. Okay, now look at B and B. This is the V and this is B. So you can clearly see that they are holding some angle, and that angle is equal to 0 degree. Understand? they are overlapping each other, so that will be equal to 0 degree. So in place of theta we will put sine 0 degree, and you know the value of sine 0 degree. Very good, this is equal to 0, so force is equal to 0. Now let us move to conclusion part. Now from this case we conclude that there is no magnetic force acting on a charge when the charge is projected 0 degree angle of B. Understand? No matter you are projecting the charge opposite to the magnetic field or in the direction of magnetic field, if there is a 0 degree angle, there will be no force. Note this point in your copy. So let us move to case second. This time I have taken a cross field going inside the board. Okay, and I have taken theta is equal to pi by 2, or you can say 90 degree. So for this one I have chosen a positive charge and I have projected this charge inside the field. Now what do you think what will happen? As this charge gets inside the field, it will start experiencing a force. Now which direction? So for finding direction I use Fleming left hand rule. Look, these are the field going inside. Very good. So you have to bring this finger, index finger, down the field. Okay, this is going down and this is the charge. So charge is projected here, so your middle finger should be in this direction. You can see clearly that force is acting upward in this case. Is it so? So look, the force will be acting upward and velocity tries to bring the charge straight, but force is acting upward, so it will make a curl. Understand? Suppose the charge is right now here. Okay, after curling a bit, now this time the q charge is here and it is continuously moving. Again apply Fleming left hand rule. So field is going inside and this is the velocity. So velocity, look at the velocity, this is the force. So force this time in this direction. Thereafter somewhere, if it is here, force will be in this direction. So after every curl, if the magnetic field is sufficient, this will form a complete circle. For this point, you can see here, force will be like this. For this point, force will be like this. So these are the forces that brings the charge in a circular path. So there will be a center. Did you understand this? And this will be the radius. Now many more time the question is asked about to calculate this radius, but we know a single formula of force. So let's apply the formula of force. F is equal to q b cross b, or you can write pb sine theta. In place of theta you will write 90 degree and sine 90 value is 1. So F is equal to qbb. This is the maximum force. Okay, this is the maximum force that this charge is experiencing. Understand? Now my aim is to calculate the radius of this circle. Okay, so this time the force, which is magnetic force, is acting as a centripetal force. Please, I am trying to convince you. As you understand this, please say yes loudly. Okay, this is the force, that is the magnetic force in nature, and it is pointing towards the center, and the whole path seems like a circle. So when a circular motion happen, this is my question, when do a circular motion happen? only in that case when all the forces is acting towards the center. Understand? And these forces are constant in nature. You can see this is constant force, you cannot change anything. V will remain same. Soon I will tell you how B remains same. Speed of the charge remains same. Q is remain same, Q is not changing. And B, you have applied B, so B is not changing. So this is the constant value of the force. So radius will be the constant. A circle forms of constant radius. Understand? So this force is acting, means magnetic force. You can also Fm subscript, so that it represent magnetic force, will be equal to Fc. Fc means what? Magnetic force is acting like centripetal force. But you know the formula of centripetal force? Very good. Mb square upon R. This formula you have derived in 11th class. Now you can use this formula directly here. Fc is equal to Mb square by R. Now this Mb square by R will be equal to the magnetic force. So let us write the value of magnetic force. Okay, quickly. QBB is equal to Mb square by R. From here simply you can calculate the value of R. Do you? Yeah, very good. R is equal to, and you can cancel 1b and square. So R is equal to Mb upon QB. Understand? This is the radius. Now look why I said radius will be constant. Radius will not be increasing or decreasing. Look here, one more quantity you have introduced here, mass. And look, mass of this charge is also constant. It is not increasing or decreasing. So this is M is mass of charge, B is the velocity of charge, and for magnitude, speed of the charge, Q is the charge itself, and B is the applied magnetic field. Did you understand this? Now note this point in your copy. Now you can also calculate its time period, but for calculating time period you should be knowing about some basics, and those basics are, look, time is equal to what? Time is equal to distance upon speed. You know about this formula upon speed. Look here, I have considered the speed of this particle is not changing. There is a valid reason behind that. Soon I will tell you. Okay, so this formula is very useful for calculating the time. This is for the uniform motion without acceleration. Okay, so T is equal to distance upon speed. Now do you think that I need to calculate the distance of means the circumference of the circle? You know the formula, 2 pi r. Okay, and thereafter speed you know, you have taken b. Okay, now put the value of r we derived earlier. R is equal to how much? R is equal to Mb upon Qb. Did you understand? Put this value here. So 2 pi Mb upon b into Qb. I'm just putting the value of r here. Again b we will cancel, and you can see over here 2 pi r upon Qb. Okay, soon you will study about cyclotron. This is also the time period of the cyclotron. Okay, understand this? One more thing I would like to tell you about this formula. Look, this formula is independent of v, means speed. So no matter by which speed you are projecting inside the magnetic field, this is not making any matter. The time period will be same for every speed. Get this point clear to you? Okay, this is very obvious. If this formula is independent of v and also it is independent of r, means there is no r, radius is also not here. So no matter how bigger is the radius and no matter how bigger is the speed, the time period will not affect. I mean to say that when you are projecting two charge inside this magnetic field, and they have different velocities, but their time of revolution, their time of making one circle will be equal. They are totally depend on q, and you have to make their charges same, and the field is obviously same. Did you understand this? Okay, so move to next. I'm erasing this. Now the time has come to understand about why the velocity is not changing throughout the motion. Okay, this will make your basics strong. Please pay attention to it. And for this purpose, I have taken a charge. I can choose any charge, so I am taking electron. Okay, and this electron is revolving around a circle. Okay, and this has some velocity v. I'm considering it's this is well, instead of saying velocity, I'm saying it as speed. Okay, because it is changing at every point, so but its magnitude remains same, so I am saying it's having the constant speed. Okay, this is revolving around the circle. Please pay attention. Now somewhere I have taken an element. This element I can choose as ds. Okay, this is very small element, very small. Okay, as you can see, this arc is a long, so you can tell that this is an arc. But what about when I take a smaller part on the arc? This looks like a straight line. Understand? So for that purpose I have chosen ds here. Okay, look, and on the ds, suppose that the charge is here, so it will experience force towards the center. That force is known as the centripetal force, and I am denoting that force by Fc. Clear? Now I am going to find work done. Work done is what? F dot ds. So I can write it as F ds cos theta, and in place of theta, look here, this element are making 90-degree angle, so this becomes F ds cos 90. The value of cos 90 is equal to 0, means the work done is 0. Now this is uniform circular motion. In uniform circular motion, work done is equal to 0. What does it mean right now? The conclusion is, if there is no change in the energy, understand, if work done is 0, it means no change in the energy from work energy theorem, then the revolving particle have no change in the magnitude of the velocity, because energy is what? Kinetic energy is related to the speed, and speed is not changing, so energy is also not changing. And if there is a change in energy, there will be work done, but work done is 0, so we conclude that there is no change in energy. Did you understand this? So that's why magnetic force changes the direction only, do not changes the velocity. I'm sorry to say this, do not changes the speed. I cannot say velocity because direction is changing continuously. So this is the conclusion. Okay, now we have more thing to learn, but we cannot compress everything in a single video. So next video will be uploaded soon, and see you in the next presentation. So make notes on it and memorize it. If you like the video, please subscribe and like there are many more concepts are left that will be discussed later on in next video. So see you in the next video. Thank you.